All right, question 6b is asking us to sketch some F graphs. So given some characteristics, we're going to go ahead and sketch some curves. I'm going to cover up the second one, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. So starting with this first one, let's just go down the list of our characteristics and make some notes. The first thing given here are coordinates. You can see that we have a coordinate at 0, 0, and 6, 0. So I'm going to go down to the graph and I'm going to lightly sketch in my coordinates. I'm going to put a dot right here at 0, 0. And then I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and put a dot right here. Next, you'll notice that we have what looks like potential extrema. We have horizontal tangents at 3 and 5. I'm just going to write horizontal tangents. I'm not 100% sure if they're mins or maxes, but I know that I'm going to have what looks like a hill and a valley here. Let's see how the rest of the characteristics shake out. You're going to notice that we have increase. It says that the first derivative is positive, so we have increase left of 3. So I'm going to go to 3, and I'm going to draw just kind of a very light line and make sure that left of this line I am increasing. The second line says between 3 and 5 I'm still increasing, so I'm going to draw another gray line here and note that I'm still increasing. Right of 5 I'm actually decreasing. So now I have 3 regions of the graph. In the first derivative we're going to be increasing here, we're going to be increasing here, and we're going to be moving downward at the end. Okay. Then I get into second derivative, so it looks like our concavity is down left of 3 and right of 4. So I'm actually concave down left of 3. I'm also concave down right of 4. So I'm going to just slide that in here, concave down, slide that in here, concave down. And then you'll see that in this little sliver right here between 3 and 4, I'm showing concave up. Okay, I'm going to piece all of this together. So I have outputs, I have horizontal tangents, I've got increase, increase, decrease, concave down, and concave up. I've broken the graph into kind of 3 regions. I'm going to try to zoom in here for you. So there we are. Okay, so in terms of the sketch, I want to increase with a concave down attitude, and I have to cross here. So if I'm increasing and I have to cross through 0, 0, what I'm going to do is start down here, and I'm going to be positive concave down. So it's going to look something like this. Okay. Now, when I get to 3, remember I need a horizontal tangent. And since I'm going to be transitioning to concave up increasing, remember increasing concave down is here, and then increasing concave up is actually there. So there's your horizontal tangent. There's going to be a moment at 3, so I'm just going to keep going with this curve. And there's going to be a moment at 3 where we level off, and then we turn into concave up, increasing. Now, at 4, I'm going to switch to concave down, increasing. So this is concave up, increasing. I'm going to switch to concave down, increasing. You can see that this is a vertical tangent. So at 4, this is going to serve as a vertical tangent. Here comes the concave down increasing. And then remember at 5, I have another horizontal tangent. So before I go ahead and connect this and level it off, let's just make sure this makes sense. I want decrease, concave down, and I have to cross down there at 6. So I'm going to have a pretty steep, then I'm going to level off and then bring it down, concave down through 6. And here's my graph. That is not 100% perfect, but it's pretty close. All right, now, next one. Next one gives me 3 outputs, and then I actually have the first derivative graph. Now, these 3 outputs are great because that allows me to start this thing. So if I go down here, I've got a dot at -1, +1. I've got a dot at 0, -1. And I've got a dot at 1, 1. So, how do I connect these dots? Well, let's go over to the first derivative graph and let's talk about what's in there. So right off the bat, I have increasing here. So left of -1, I'm increasing. I'm going to make a note over here. You can see that in this first derivative graph. Left of -1, so at -1, I change from increase to decrease. So that is, think about that, increase to decrease. -1 is actually a relative max. So I'm going to make a note of that in my picture. And then you'll notice that decrease becomes increase again at 0. So decrease becomes increase at 0. So this is a min. And then at 1, look at, I'm increasing. And at 1, I go from increase to decrease. So I'm actually another relative max. So this is relative max. Those I know about are my 3 dots. And now how I connect it all, remember this is my, I got to look at these. You can see that we have a very steep increase, and then as I get closer to -1, these outputs diminish, and so that means my increase is approaching 0. So you can tell that the slopes here are negative, so the concavity, since this is f prime, the concavity of this would be the slopes. They're negative, so I'm concave down as I approach this max. So I'm increasing concave down over here. Okay, I'm going to draw a little line. And then between this max and this min, you'll see I am decreasing because I have negative outputs. And you'll see that the slopes are negative until right here looks like a point of inflection. And then the slopes are positive. So I've got decreasing, but I have a point of inflection. So I'm actually concave down and then I'm concave up. So halfway in between here, I switch to a point of inflection. So I'm increasing, concave up, and about halfway between 0 right here, left side, I'm decreasing, concave down, and on the right side I'm decreasing, concave up. So this would be decreasing, concave down, and this would be increasing, concave down, or concave up, sorry, decreasing, concave up. So let me connect so far. So I'm increasing, concave down, I max out. Now I come this way and I'm decreasing, concave down, and then it switches at that line, switches point of inflection to concave up. This little region here, right here, I'm increasing because I'm positive outputs, and you'll see I go concave up to concave down. So again, halfway in between, I'm going to have a concavity change. So again, I start with positive slopes and positive outputs. So I'm increasing concave up. And then you'll see that I switch to increasing concave down. And now to the right of that dot, if I go back, to the right of that dot, I am decreasing with concave down. So I'm decreasing concave down. So that would be the behavior.